Alright, what's up guys? This is Taylor and I'm doing the nightly video for December 11th. Jumping into the rankings here, and I'm doing a webinar for this on Tuesday of next week. We'll put a link down here in the description. But jumping in, and right now we have a rating of market is bullish. Alright, market equals bullish. And that's based on a combination of the index scores, the Big 10 basket scores, and the sector ticker scores. Now, a couple things stick out here. One, collectively, the indexes are very strong. They have a group ranking of 95%. But a couple things here. So the QQQ's down here in what would be last place at 78%. Then from there, you have the RSP, the IWM, and the Dow Jones. They all have the perfect score of 100. And for the RSP here, that's going to be the equal-weighted S&P 500. I think that might actually be the best-looking setup in the entire market. Big statement there. But again, the RSP is your equal-weighted S&P 500. Everything from the S&Ps, everybody's equal. And on a couple of the big time frames, this looks poised for, what could be a pretty good move. This implies maybe another 5 to 10+% upside. So breaking it down here, we have the squeeze on the monthly time frame. You could look at a yearly or a quarterly, but I think for a lot of us, that'll be the biggest time frame. Big squeeze setting up, and when we have a green arrow down here, that means we have all of the structure criteria, all the trend, all momentum. Everything lines up for a breakout. Green arrow on the monthly squeeze, and then we take it down a notch here to the weekly. And we have the green arrow on the weekly. We drop it down to the 3-day squeeze. We have a green arrow on the 3-day squeeze, and we drop it down to the 2-day time frame. Not to be outdone, we also have a green arrow here on the 2-day time frame. So to me, what that means is probabilities-wise, on 1, 2, 3, 4 bigger time frames, the equal-weighted basket should be poised for a pretty big breakout. So kind of look at that like you're back in the mid-90s, and it's a pretty safe assumption. The Chicago Bulls will win the NBA championship. But now, if they're going to go and do that, if the entire team's going to win, the Bulls are going to take the title, you need good games from, your Scottie Pippens, your Michael Jordans, the best of the fucking Bulls. Alright, what's up guys? This is Taylor, and I'm doing the nightly video for December 11th. We'll get jumping in here, take a look at the rankings, and I'm doing a webinar for this on Tuesday of next week. We'll put a link here in the description. But right now we have an overall rating of bullish. So market equals bullish based on the index scores, the Big 10 basket scores, and the collective sector scores. And that means I want to be bullish. But breaking a couple of things down here on the indexes, the Qs are currently down here in the last place at about, I'm going to round up a little bit, they're at about 80% of their best score. And then you have the RSP, the IWM, the Dow Jones, they have a perfect score of 100. You can't get much better than that. And for the RSP here, I think that might actually be the best looking setup in the entire market. Big statement, I know. But for the RSP, which is your equal weighted S&P 500, everything from the S&Ps, everybody's equal. On a few big time frames, this looks poised for a pretty big breakout. So on the monthly RSP, we have a squeeze, and if we have a green arrow down here on the squeeze histogram, that means all of the structure criteria, all the trend, indicator-wise, everything lines up for a push towards the upside target. Green arrow on the monthly, green arrow on the weekly squeeze. Take it down a notch to the 3-day time frame, green arrow on the 3-day squeeze, and then not to be outdone, we drop down to the 2-day time frame, and that also has a squeeze and a green arrow. So till that changes, the implication is probabilities-wise, the basket, the overall team here, should be poised for a pretty big breakout. And I think upwards of maybe about 10% higher. So looking at that, it's a little bit like back in the mid-90s, making the assumption the Chicago Bulls will win the NBA championship. But if the Bulls are going to win the championship, you need what? You need good action from Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, all the key players. So looking at the equal-weighted basket, everybody being equal, everything's about as bullish as it could be. Good structure, good alignment, couple of them big squeezes, and then as far as, all right, well, can we get the, can we get what we need from, quote-unquote, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen? The key players on the team, that's where I'm seeing a few things that could be a little bit better. So for the indexes, take the RSP, the Russell, Dow Jones, S&Ps, QQQ, combine them, they're at 95% of their best possible ranking. Tis very bullish. And then if you look at the Big Ten basket, right, these are for the stock market, your Michael Jordans and Scottie Pippens. Reason being, in the S&Ps, the QQQ, and XLK, etc., these make up a huge weighting. The Big Ten would be Broadcom, TSM, Tesla, Apple, Google, Amazon, Meta, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Netflix. And that basket's a little bit of a mixed bag. Netflix is pretty weak here with a negative 66. Microsoft a negative 22, NVIDIA a negative 16. A few of these are more neutral. Google at 39 is more neutral. Amazon neutral at 30. And a few look pretty sharp. Could change after earnings tonight. But Broadcom's sitting pretty at 93%, TSM 78, and Tesla's a 56. Take all that and combine it, and these are your Michael Jordans, your Scottie Pippens. They have a collective only 24% of their best score. So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, you look at the market through more of that bigger picture view. Everything looks pretty good. Great action here from silver, industrials, financials, and gold, XLY, SMH. I think to get the strongest market possible, at some point we have to get better participation from this collective basket. So a few that I think look good. One would be some TSM here, and again we got to get through the Broadcom earnings tonight. But TSM is one I would like to buy mainly here on the 2-day and the 3-day squeeze. The only thing I don't have at the moment would be a green arrow to actually jump in and buy it. But that I think is pretty good, and then jump into the 3-day squeeze here for Tesla. We're long a little Tesla in the rooms right now. And I'm thinking for tomorrow, if we can get and keep a green arrow here on that 3-day squeeze, it could be shaping up for a similar path, similar to the path you had back here. All the back and forth, all of the, choppy squeeze action. Then when you finally get the green arrow, structure's in place for a breakout, momentum, and you get the move. You get the good stuff. So on that one, we're looking for a chance to buy a little bit more. And then the bad would be... So the weakest is actually going to be Netflix. The biggest problem, I think, is actually, for now, NVIDIA. Okay, so looking at the one they call NVIDIA. And look, if you look at a bigger time frame, like a weekly, NVIDIA's not bad. If anything, the ranking system puts a weekly chart... only 3 points away from the best score, 12 points out of 15. It's not that NVIDIA is weak. Netflix is weaker. It's more so NVIDIA is such a big piece of the puzzle. NVIDIA is a Michael Jordan. That when this thing's pulling back and you're choppy, you're not getting the relative strength. It's a big piece of the puzzle, not helping the market try to make that big move. So for NVIDIA, one thing I would like to see for next week, not that I'll trade it, but more as far as a gauge for a better market, if this could even climb back above 185-ish, couple of closes back above the 21 EMA, maybe a close back above the 50. I don't think it means NVIDIA goes back to an all-time high immediately, but they can maybe put a bit of a short-term band-aid on it. The flip side is if NVIDIA's back down to $170, $160, if they really spank it, I'm not sure the S&P's QQQ, despite good action in things like financials, industrials, etc., if NVIDIA falls apart, you're going to get a weaker SMH, you're going to get a weaker Broadcom TSM, a weaker QQQ, kind of the negative domino effect. So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, based on the ranking system, everything's pretty bullish. We should be in good shape for a path back in the brand new all-time highs. I think at the moment the only missing piece is better action than a few of these big boys, and the one I would like to see get back on board would be the NVIDIA. So we'll see what's up there tomorrow after the Broadcom earnings. But a couple more for you. Let's go look at the financials. Now the financials could be due for a bit of a dip, a bit of the dipping. But if they do dip, they're going to dip into the context of a pretty solid weekly squeeze. So we came in here today, picked up a little bit of the BAC calls for January, and that one is setting up on the 3-day squeeze, a 2-day squeeze, a 2-hour, and the one I really like here would be the squeeze setting up on the 4-hour time frame. And we also did a call fly at $7,000, which is currently the call wall. on the S&Ps for next week, and that's based off of also the 4-hour squeeze. But all right, y'all, hope you found it helpful. Again, we have a link here in the description for next week's webinar. And we'll do a full deep dive. What is a ranking system? How do I do the math here? But yeah, keep an eye on the S&Ps. Keep an eye, more importantly, on your Michael Jordans and Scottie Pippens. And yeah, if we can get a few more of these big, heavily weighted names on board, then based on all the other action, I think we're in good shape for further upside. But all right, y'all, thank you for watching. If I don't talk to you again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll talk soon. Adios.
What's up, traders? This is Taylor from Simpler Trading. I wanted to thank you for watching our video, and if you liked the video, go on ahead and comment down below, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon to get a notification anytime we upload our next video. And of course, if you want to watch us trade live in real time with our own money, check us out at simplertrading.com. Until then, trade safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.